You can't just buy off-the-shelf parts and slap them together and assume that they're gonna work.
See how tight it is? That's supposed to move by hand.
Another very common 2J mistake that we're seeing in this industry is people using the wrong valve springs. Nobody talks about this stuff either. You know, this stuff arises, people destroy stuff, things come up, and if it does ever come up, it's always the tuner's fault or it's always the engine builder's fault. I hear a lot of guys, oh, I'm gonna build it for 1,500 and only make 800. Well, that's kind of stupid.
I've never been on live television before.
Let's see what's going on today. I guess as many of you have been wondering if we were ever going to hire anybody else to help, we have.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
As you guys can see, we stay very busy. We decided to bring somebody on board, that being Jose.
I'll come back and they're gone. They disappeared.
I've probably known Jose for, I don't know, 15 years plus probably. He's actually a Mark IV Supra owner himself. It was an easy fit for us because it was somebody who had experience working on that chassis, that engine, and that platform. He's very smart, very eager to learn, and mechanically inclined. Good fit for the team.
It's early. Yeah, dude.
That shit was like a hat.
Yeah, it was. Right.
Right over your head.
Like a hat. I've never heard somebody say that before.
It's been a good match so far.
Yeah, definitely. So you'll be seeing more of Jose. He also has his own YouTube channel, which I'll plug here. Maybe?
This car, you know, is another sad story where it comes from another shop. All types of stuff was wronged and messed up on it. I don't remember exactly what we did the first go round of repairs, but I know a lot of fuel system, the typical hack job Mark IV fuel system that these backwoods shops are doing out here. I think it has a PHR triple pump hanger now. I had to replace a lot of the fuel lines and go through that. I believe it had a lot of fluid leaks. Nonetheless, we got all that stuff buttoned up, gave him back the car. He probably had it for 2-3 months, no issues, and then all of a sudden called me up and said, hey, the car doesn't start. It's trying to start, but it's smoking. He got the car towed to us, and lo and behold, you go to crank the car, and it's puffing and smoking, and it just didn't sound right. It sounded like it was out of time. So we pulled the timing covers off, and lo and behold, the exhaust cam gear jumped like 5 teeth, and immediately we knew that something was wrong with the tensioner, because there's really not any reason these things should be jumping teeth, especially with new timing belt and new products. So opened up the front of the engine and come to find out that he had the dreaded old billet timing belt tensioner with no brass bushing or bronze bushing.
So look, even loosened up, it's still.
Yeah, like, doesn't move freely.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is they seize up.
See how tight it is? That's supposed to move by hand.
You really need a tensioner that has the bushing. It was a pretty common thing to have back in the day. This is what it leads down to. So here is what we pulled off the car. We actually had to use a press to get this out because it was so seized. But this thing was deadlocked and it would not move.
Yeah, it doesn't like there's a bushing in there. And this is stuck in there.
Lovely.
And what happens is when the engine gets put under load, the RPMs are high, the belt wants to push the tensioner open. So what happens is it pushes it open and the hydraulic tensioner can't push it back because it's deadlocked and seized. And then you end up with a sloppy loose timing belt because this never comes back since it's locked in the open position. And exhaust cam gear jumped some teeth.
So it got stuck like this, and the tensioner wasn't pushing out. It was stuff like that.
So the belt, there was slop.
Yeah.
We were hoping it didn't bend any valves. We put everything back in time and went to start it up just to see if the engine sounded okay. And it did fire up and it did run, but I could tell that something wasn't right. Then we immediately moved to a compression test after we put it back in time.
But Reed's compression test came out too.
Reed's compression.
Butt cheeks.
It started off good. It was 175, 170, 175, 170. So really, this doesn't make any sense
right,
at all.
cool,
It's all coming
yeah.
in good. And then 5 was 140. That was the first one, and 6 was 60. So 6 was
Wow, yeah.
Lo and behold, cylinders 5 and 6 both had smoked valves on the exhaust side. That's got bent valves. We just go get them valves replaced and get this turd back on the road. So nonetheless, that led to us pulling the cylinder head and changing out the valves. At that point, we decided we were just gonna change all the valves in the head, do a nice little upgrade, make sure everything was the same as well. I don't know what was previously put inside the head. This head was probably built 3, 4, 5 times from the stories that I was told, that the engine is like the 6th engine that's been in this car, but that's for another day. Unfortunately, upon pulling the head and disassembling everything, we found a couple other things wrong.
I'm surprised how close that sensor is to the back of the head.
Man, they bolted that shit right to the head. They had the wrong valve springs installed in this head. Another very common 2J mistake that we're seeing in this industry is people using the wrong valve springs. Dave over at Head Games does a pretty good job at touching on the subject. These valve springs, if the diameter of these valve springs is anything bigger than 28 millimeters, they get jammed in the head. You can kind of see here with some marks, you can see where some of the aluminum of the bore inside the head has wiped off on the spring, because these can't sit flat inside the head. When these can't sit flat inside the head, they end up coil binding. When they coil bind, you end up destroying buckets. A couple of these buckets definitely look kind of beat up. You get a really bad wear pattern, and you can see how it's everything, all these buckets are splintering on the outside. Not very good. Luckily, we caught it within a reasonable amount of time. So a new set of buckets, new set of springs, then some minor work on a cam that resolved that issue. But it's very unfortunate that the timing belt jumped, he bent some valves, and we ended up having to pull the head, but it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because if that wasn't going to get him, this was. He would have ended up destroying the valve train, and we would have been pulling the head off anyways. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone by fixing multiple issues. Everything else came together pretty well. We didn't really spot anything else.
Snap our fingers and get the head back and slap it back on. So, like magic.
He should have a car that he can enjoy reliably for a long time. Oh, and by the way, these are not billet cams. These are actually cast Kelford cams. I know there's a lot of things on the internet that's saying it's the billet cams that are tearing these things up. It's got nothing to do with the material of the cam. It's properly setting up your valve train. You can't just buy off-the-shelf parts and slap them together and assume that they're gonna work. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Even if you buy all the parts from the same manufacturer. So, I mean, that's just something to think about, and that's why it's so important to have somebody who knows what they're doing select or choose the right components and combinations for your car, especially depending on what you're doing, your power goals. I hear a lot of guys say, I'm gonna build it for 1,500 and only make 800. Well, that's kind of stupid.
I just freak out.
I understand about overbuilding it, but overbuilding it to a certain degree within reason. Because of course you don't want to run things at 100%, but to build something of that caliber and run it at 50%, it's kind of like you're allowing yourself to tread down a path using components that are designed for extreme use, so you get kind of the negative effects of that extreme use component without actually utilizing it, because you're not making the power. Moral of the story is, use somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. Looks like a 2J. I mean, anybody can slap parts together, put up a dyno sheet that says 1,000 horsepower, send you on your way, and then you're looking at shit like this later on down the road.
Wow.
What sucks? Frosted misaligned. Well, the head.
Nobody talks about this stuff either. You know, this stuff arises, people destroy stuff, things come up, and if it does ever come up, it's always the tuner's fault, or it's always the engine builder's fault. Gotta love it.
Can expect from us. I know we're gonna do like a little shop tour. Right now the shop's a little messy, so we're not doing that. But anything else? Future episodes. I know I have the RB20 questions, and maybe we'll do an answer. We'll do like a sit down, a Q&A. Yeah. So if you guys want to submit any questions, I'll put up something else for that. But we're gonna do a RB20 Q&A. This probably wouldn't be the right video to advertise that in, because this is a 2JZ. But anything else coming up with the channel? I know we're in the midst of winter here, so not any track days soon, but this season we have a lot of stuff going on, so we're excited. Thanks again, guys, for following us. If you haven't, like and subscribe somewhere around here.
Yeah. Deuces.
How have you guys been? I know it's been a bit since we've done a new video, but we're gonna get back on the vlog scene. What kind of manifold is that?
We were looking at earlier. I don't know.
It's got really long runners.
Yeah.
So it might be an old school RPS manifold, but they didn't have dual wastegate, so.
They got that eBay GPS manifold.
How does she look?
That surface finish kind of sucks.
It's not as bad as the whiz wheel.
If somebody's just taking a whiz wheel and
Yeah, you could feel ridges in it.
yeah.